So then he says, that's a bunch of bantha poodoo.
That is hilarious. You know, you must be so excited that the Book of Boba Fett's coming out.
Oh, yeah, that's coming on Disney Plus December 29th. I can't wait.
Sweet. And you know, one of the things that I never understood is how did Boba Fett get out of the Sarlacc pit?
You know,
They never explained it.
They never said it in the movies or in the TV show, but in the additional Star Wars literature, there was a book called Tales from Jabba's Palace.
They all have palaces.
Yeah, they all have palaces. And apparently when Boba Fett went down into the belly of the beast to be digested over the period of 1,000 years, there was other victims in there, and he comes across like a ghost of the very first victim.
And it's not a Jedi ghost.
It's
a ghost ghost?
Yeah. I don't know if he was naked or not.
I was going to say, did he have a nice tailor too?
I don't know. But this ghost has telepathic powers, summons Boba Fett down, somehow activates his jetpack, and an explosion happens, blows a hole in the side of the Sarlacc. Boba Fett gets out.
And that's how he gets out. Oh my God, that is ridiculous. They just came up with anything they could possibly think.
I know, it's crazy.
Hey, wait a minute, we're on.
Again? Hello, everybody. This is Dane.
And this is JR.
And we are
the Cult Lords.
We're coming to you from House Cult Lords. And the Emperor has instructed us to release your minds.
So today we are going to be reviewing Dune. Still in the theaters, but you can stream it at home for you lazy couch potatoes.
Like we did.
Like we did. But because of that, there's no Blu-ray out. So we did the next best thing. We found the novel in our treasure vaults.
That's right.
And some lucky commenter will be hearing and receiving this next week.
Yes, we'll tell you how to win it and when you can receive your copy a little later on in the show. But Dane, to carry out the Emperor's instructions and release our minds, we must have a tasty beverage.
Yes.
What are we drinking today?
So just like Melange from the planet of Arrakis, we've got a spiced special rum. Chairman's Reserve from the island of St. Lucia.
Ooh, I've been there.
This is the Chairman's Reserve normal rum, but this one's extra spiced. They threw in cinnamon, clove, nutmeg, vanilla, allspice, lemon, and orange peels. But there's an extra special, maybe, if you're lucky. There's an extra special secret ingredient.
What is that?
A little side effect, much like Melange. It's called Bois Bandé, a tree extract that will work the aphrodisiac powers on whoever drinks it. So, bois in French means wood. Get ready for some wood.
Ooh, I'll be sipping very slowly. But who will be serving us today, Dane?
We've got a special guest.
Oh.
Duncan, Idaho.
Duncan, Idaho?
Duncan, would you pour us a dram?
Thanks, Duncan.
When I'm chilling with the Freeman, I enjoy this finely spiced rum from Chairman's Reserve. Since it's a single blend from both column and pot still rum from the same distillery, it's smooth, no burn to speak of. One of the few worth sipping straight, especially after a long day of killing Harkonnens.
Thanks, Duncan, Idaho.
Wow.
Oh, man. Smell that.
Yeah.
Cheers. Got some cinnamon, a little bit of clove in there.
Oh, I can definitely taste that orange. I can definitely taste that orange.
Oh, but wait.
What?
We forgot. Straight from Arrakis. We've got the Melange here.
Oh, spice.
You got to put this in before.
Oh.
A little between the teeth and gums always helps.
Oh.
Oh, what a trip. I think I went through time and space.
Man, I think I saw Duncan, Idaho with Johnny Utah in Point Break.
Now that is a vision. Were they shirtless?
Well, Patrick Swayze was there. What do you think? Wow.
Woo. Highly recommend the spice, the melange. Awesome. Woo.
Spice. I tell you what, I think that
Especially
spice
with
is
the-
working. I think we are ready to move on with the show, Dane.
We're ready.
So, Dane, today we are reviewing one of the greatest sci-fi books of all time that's been made into a movie. Now, twice been made into a movie.
Third attempt.
Yes. But that got me to thinking, what are the greatest sci-fi movies of all time?
Are we counting superhero movies?
Superhero movies.
I mean,
Well,
you know, because technically a lot of them could fall into that genre.
I mean, like Batman, who is a human with technology and gadgets, is not sci-fi.
Okay.
But if you want to go with Superman, maybe being an alien from another planet, maybe you can call that sci-fi.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I'm assuming we're starting with number 8.
We are starting
The
do the
Infinity
Cult-
8 is here!
Cult Lord's top 8 sci-fi movies of all time. All right. So number 8, Dane. Oh, what do you have?
Well,
on
number
your list?
8, Minority Report.
Ah, that's a good movie.
That's a good Tom Cruise flick. Of course, it's Tom Cruise playing Tom Cruise, but
right.
excellent. It's based on I forget the guy's name, the author, something, Andrew Dick. I can't remember his name. Crap.
Oh, I don't know. I don't know who that is, but we'll find out.
He
who that
also
is
was the guy who wrote
Andy Dick. The
No,
actor?
not Andy Dick. We'll put it up here, but a great movie. It was based on another famous science fiction author who wrote a lot of other books that had major impact on science fiction movies.
Well, speaking of an author who wrote tons of science fiction books and were made into lots of movies, my number 8 is Jurassic Park.
Oh,
Yeah.
that was Michael Crichton.
Michael Crichton, and I base my movies on movies that impacted me and had me thinking for weeks and months. And to think that you could take the DNA of a fossilized, creature, or actually they were taking it out of the mosquito, right? And replicating it and
extracting the DNA.
Bringing dinosaurs back to life. And there are some Japanese scientists right now that thinks they're very close to bringing back the mastodons or whatever.
Yeah, I saw that, the woolly mastodon.
The woolly mammoths, excuse me.
The woolly mammoth.
Yeah. So
yep.
Science fiction could turn into reality. So
Yep, I agree.
what do you have at number 7?
So my number 7 was Pandorum.
I remember Pandorum. Remember how we saw Pandorum?
I know we saw it together, but I don't remember how we did it.
So what happened was I watched this movie on my own and thought, oh my gosh, this is so good. And we were working together and I said, you got to come over and see this movie. So you came over to my house and we watched it on my big screen.
Right.
And, that's when I shared Pandorum with you because it was awesome. It's a great movie. It's kind of a horror / sci-fi, but yeah.
Right. A bit of a twist at the end. We're not going to talk about anything, but that's with the guy from 310 to Yuma, Ben something.
Oh, yeah.
And then also Dennis Quaid.
Yep.
Right?
And as much as I love Pandorum, guess what?
What?
It's not on my top 8 list.
There's a theme every time we do this. I don't get it.
All right, so my number 7.
Yours?
My number 7 is Inception.
Inception. See, I thought about that movie too, and I thought, that is an interesting movie. I guess it falls in that, but I don't think of it as a sci-fi movie. I almost think of it more of as like a mind bender,
Yeah, well, that's science fiction.
That's just me,
to be
I
able
guess.
to enter into somebody's dreams, you know what I mean?
But they did that in Dreamscape.
It's also science fiction.
A Dennis Quaid movie again. See
Yeah.
how we combine everything together.
Yes, but also a science fiction movie. So I mean, for me, Inception had me thinking for days about that, and then it made me want to go watch it again and again. And I've seen that movie like 10
Did you
times.
spin the top to see if you maybe were dreaming or not?
Oh, I don't know. I don't know what happens there. All right, Dane. So number 6, what do you got?
Serenity.
Serenity
Now.
Part of the Firefly franchise. Right?
Yes, yeah. I mean, I thought they did, and I heard they're making another one. There's going to be a Serenity 2 coming out in the future, but I don't know when it's going to be coming out.
Oh.
But that movie was awesome. It had a lot of like concepts that really hadn't seen in other movies, and then the telepathic girl being chased by the government, and then falling in with the ragtag crew.
Yeah, the brown coats.
Great movie. A lot of like little side winks to a lot of like other sci-fi type stuff, but Nathan Fillion at his best.
Oh yeah, and who was the girl in that?
She was in V later.
Marina Baccarin.
Yeah.
She's Brazilian, by the way. I don't know if you know that.
Yeah, well.
But, whenever I think about her.
I loves me the brunettes.
I'll be in my bunk. So, all right.
I hear it works good with the spice, by the way.
Okay.
You get a little extra aphrodisiac if you meet up with her.
So, my number 6.
Is what?
Planet of the Apes. The original. Charlton Heston.
That's right, What does he say?
You damn dirty ape!
Apes, that is such a powerful scene. When that happens, and all that buildup of the emotion of him not being able to speak, but yet seeing like the travesty of the earth.
Yes.
And I forget it.
He goes, "Get your hands off me."
That's right. Get your hands off me, you damn dirty apes!
Yes.
Take your stinking paws off me, you damn dirty ape!
You're like, yeah!
And they're all freaking out.
They're like, what?
A human just spoke?
Wow. Yeah, that was an awesome scene.
Yeah. Great movie.
Great movie.
Yeah. So
I should have
that's my
brought that
number
one
6.
out as a comic book, yeah.
All right. So what do you have as number 5?
Number 5, Mad Max Fury Road. The new one.
Wow. Oh, the new one.
The new one. The one that just came out.
With Charlize Theron and
the guy who plays Venom.
Yeah.
I can't think of his name.
Gosh, he's in Legend. I just saw this movie Legend. I can't think of his name either. He plays Bane.
Oh, that's right. He plays Bane. Go ahead. Let me see your Bane.
No, Batman. That's not the way it goes.
He must have had major throat.
Tom Hardy.
He must have had major throat issues after playing Bane.
Oh,
I mean, they're like, lozenge at stage 3.
Yeah. I like that Mad Max. Remarkably, though, not in my top 8. So,
so what's your number 5?
Well, I'm going to put these two together. 2001 and 2010. So now
that's cheating.
I'm not saying
you did that last week with Terminator.
Well, because it's the franchise, but I can't say 2010 is as awesome as 2001. But don't fall asleep on 2010 because that was great sci-fi too. But 2001 is a classic, and a
little on the sleepy side. I mean, Kubrick did it.
Right.
So there was a lot of cool, like
I like Kubrick.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I mean, he's a great guy.
But 2001 and 2010. If you haven't seen 2010, John Lithgow, Roy Scheider, going up with the Russians. It was a great movie.
Yeah, I forgot about that movie.
Yeah. So what do you have, Dane, at number 4?
The Matrix.
The Matrix.
Oh,
that's an awesome movie, and the new one's coming out.
Blue or red pill. I know. I can't wait till that movie comes out. I mean, I sure hope they reboot the franchise in the sense that they get rid of the ridiculousness and return to the way the first one was, where it was a mystery kind of thing. But I guess they're not. We shall see.
We shall see.
We're going to review that. So stay tuned. Whenever's that coming out?
It comes out in December also.
Oh, yes.
So Book of Boba Fett. Lots of things coming out in December,
it's
right?
like there's nonstop new
West Side Story remake.
Yes.
All right. So
what's yours?
For my number 4, I'm combining 2 movies together.
What?
Alien and Aliens.
We're going to put a stop to that next time.
No.
That's like making one movie out of 2.
No, because you can't separate those 2. So, of course, I told you previously that Aliens I saw before I saw Alien, right? But I'm telling you, Sigourney Weaver is amazing in this. And sometime I'm going to campaign that Sigourney Weaver needs to receive a Lifetime Achievement Oscar because she's been in so many awesome movies and she's never won an Oscar, never won a Golden Globe. And she's one of the greatest actresses of all of our time. So she needs to be recognized. But Aliens, total sci-fi, awesomeness.
I know.
Just
they're
great.
both great movies on their
Yes.
own. It's just such a distinctive feel, and it's obviously because of the directors. I mean, the first one, Ridley Scott, the second one, James Cameron. And
Right.
second one, all action, all like military going in, blah, blah, blah. We're going to save the world.
Remember Carter Burke? You know who that is? Paul Reiser? in
Oh,
Aliens.
God, the hated Paul
From the
Reiser.
Wiley-Yutani Corporation.
Oh, my God. I'd
Yeah.
love a shirt that says, Carter Burke, you must die. I hated that guy.
All right, so
All right.
who is your number 3?
Number 3, another Tom Cruise movie. Can you guess?
I'm going to say War of the Worlds.
No, Edge
Okay.
of Tomorrow.
Oh, Live, Die, Repeat. They've renamed
Well, that
movie.
was the no.
They have
No,
renamed,
the original one was Live, Die, and Repeat, right?
They have renamed this movie on IMDb, and now the DVD or the Blu-ray comes out saying "Live, Die, Repeat," not Edge of Tomorrow.
Was that why there was a copyright with the book or something?
I don't know. I have no idea.
Copyright strike.
But that is a great movie. Emily Blunt was great in that too.
She did a great job. I mean, I'm sorry. What was she? The warrior? No, the
the trainer.
The maiden. Wasn't she the war maiden? That was
Everything
her
with you is
name.
a maiden.
No, but that was her name in the movie.
Oh, is
she
it
was known
really?
as the maiden or something like that. I can't remember her name. But yeah, that was a great movie, and that was a totally different movie for her. I mean, Tom Cruise has done so many action movies.
Yes.
That this was kind of unexpected. It was not unexpected. It was totally in his territory. But for her, who had been doing like Victorian movies.
Well, then you need to see Sicario, my friend.
But that was, I think, was that before or after? We're going to have this.
After.
Was it after?
Yes.
Yeah. So she did action. Go ahead. What's your number 3?
My number 3 is The Matrix.
Okay.
You know what? I think I've said before on a past show, Quentin Tarantino reviewed the greatest movies of the last 30 years. He had The Matrix in his top 10. He said it would have been number 1 if 2 and 3 didn't come out and spoil the franchise. But
I mean, I liked the concepts and the little secret little nuances that they put in those other movies. They just didn't do the storyline correctly.
No, they didn't.
I mean, it just kind of collapsed, and there was so much like CGI. They were like, well, we love CGI. Let's go overboard and do a lot more CGI.
yeah. But I'm telling you what, I can't wait to see Neo coming back.
I know, man.
December,
Keanu Reeves, and we've said this before, Keanu Reeves. We love that guy. And the thing that's great about him as an actor is that he is willing to continue to play fan favorite parts indefinitely.
Yep.
You know what I mean? And there's a lot of actors, William Shatner's a big one. They don't want to be stereotyped. I mean, can you imagine if that guy was like, I am going to play Captain Kirk in every form whatsoever. But a lot of these guys are like, I'm afraid I'm going to get stereotyped. So get me out of this.
Well, so for me, 3 was The Matrix. So
All
now
right.
we're up to number 2.
Number 2 for me is Alien.
Alien. Just the first one.
Just the first
See,
one.
I actually like the second one better than the first one.
Well, I mean, like I said, what I would love about the first one was the element of surprise and the creepiness. And really...
So there's no surprise or creepiness in 2?
Well, you know what's coming.
Oh, you know what's coming. Yeah, I guess
You know
that's
what's
true.
coming. I mean, that's the thing is.
Yeah.
And then the thing about...
But it's not just one.
Yeah, right. Well, yeah, they brought a lot more. But
Yeah.
that was the whole thing about number 2. It was a commentary on the corporate arrogance.
Yes.
That we can, in the government, obviously, we can just get in there with our military, take anything over, and then it was like, oops, we made a mistake, you know. Whereas number 1 was completely like introduced a new species. It was basically a horror movie in space.
Yeah.
I mean, that movie fills so many different checkboxes with different genres.
Yeah.
Absolutely outstanding. And again, your favorite, Sigourney Weaver at her best.
Oh, she's awesome. I love Sigourney Weaver. So
What's your number 2?
my number 2 is Blade Runner.
Oh.
The very first one. I remember going and seeing this movie, and it was on the heels of Star Wars, and then Empire Strikes Back came out in 80. So then Blade Runner, I think, came out in like 81, and my dad took me to see Blade Runner, and I was thinking it was going to be this action-packed shoot 'em up like Star Wars was, and it wasn't. It was more of this thinking man's kind of movie, right? And there was some creepy
boring to
scenes.
most kids at this age, by the way.
Well, you know what? I have to say, like, it was totally not what I expected, but Rutger Hauer's freaked the crap out of me.
Ned Beatty.
When he put the nails through his hands,
Oh,
remember?
I know.
And then just grabbed Harrison Ford. And, but then he dies in the rain. And I tell you what, that movie impacted me even as a kid. And when it came out on
Did you have a
HBO, I
tear?
watched it over. No, I didn't have a tear. No.
For the cyborgs?
What's so funny is I didn't ever cry in movies until I got older, and now I cry all the time in movies.
Well,
Movies make me
actually,
cry.
I will admit that myself too. It's really weird because I agree with you fully. Never had that emotional impact in the early movies, and now,
Yeah.
we're going to talk about Dune later. There was a part in that where all of a sudden I felt like some kind of weird, emotional response. We'll talk about it later.
Okay.
Remind me to talk about that. But it was just I completely agree with you. Now, something will happen and it will trigger. Right?
Maybe because we're getting older. I don't
You'll
know.
be like,
Yeah. There's been some movies that I've seen this year that have made me tear up. So, all right.
Conan? Conan the Barbarian?
No, Conan. Well, maybe the Jason Momoa version, but I was crying.
The
for
end of
different
Sabotage?
reasons.
I was crying.
I was crying about how bad this was.
Yes, exactly.
All right. So we're at number 2. So are we past number 2? So we're up to number 1. But I just want to say, Dane, I know you're going to get a little upset. There were some tough choices in here. And I actually made a list of some honorable mentions that could have gone in here. Yes.
Honorable mentions?
Yes, because I thought about War of the Worlds. I thought about Westworld.
Well,
did you see Westworld?
Well, yeah, but those aren't.
I thought about District 9.
Westworld's that was a TV show. It's not a movie. You're talking about the Yul Brynner
Yes!
one? Oh, my God. I guess, the concept. I guess it got diluted.
Westworld wasn't a movie. Oh, wait a second. You talking about the Yul Brynner one? Yes. Yes, of course. That was pure science fiction.
Yeah.
Okay, so then I thought about Star Trek II.
You might as well throw the Andromeda Strain and
I know. I'm just saying.
Incredible Shrinking.
I'm just naming other ones in there.
Yeah, go ahead.
Event Horizon. That was one that I almost put in there.
Yeah, that one suffered though. It was a great movie, but a terrible ending. That was the problem with the ending. It was like
Lawrence Fishburne, Sam Neill.
I mean, I love it because it was a great concept.
Yeah. But I had to put Jurassic Park in. So we're up to number 1.
All right,
number 1.
My number 1.
All right. Who do you have as number 1?
Well, you stole my thunder, Blade Runner. That's my number 1. So and I remember the author's name, Philip K. Dick novel. Did Minority Report, did Blade Runner, but it was called originally Do Robots Dream of Electric Sheep?
Yes.
And then also, if everyone watched, there was the TV show Man in the High Castle. He wrote that too. But he's one of these authors that has major impact on a lot of.
So was it Andy Dick?
No, it wasn't Andy Dick.
Okay.
That was his probably related somehow.
Okay.
Fourth cousin, twice removed kind of thing. But Blade Runner, you were talking about Ned Beatty. Do you hear they're making another movie?
Ned Beatty. It's Roy Beatty.
Roy Beatty, sorry. Yeah, not Ned Beatty.
Not Ned Beatty. Smell like a pig.
You got a pretty mouth, Ned.
No, not Ned
Roy?
Beatty.
That would have been so funny.
Yeah.
Roy Beatty and Deliverance. It would have been a totally different movie at the end there. But Philip K. Dick wrote, stories that were inspiration for these later movies. But, the part where Ned Beatty is dying and he starts reciting that monologue about you people have never seen what I've seen. And he talks about explosions on the moon.
Have you seen the C-beams on the horizon of Tannhauser Gate?
Tannhauser Gate. All those moments will be lost in time like tears in rain.
Or something like that.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Now that little piece, that little monologue when he's in his death, basically about to die, that little monologue, they're turning that into a movie. They're going to make a movie about that.
Well,
particular
I want to know
thing.
what the Tannhauser Gate looks like. I want to know what C-beams look like.
Right.
When he goes into that monologue.
Yeah, and that's what they're going to talk about. They're going to go into those. They're going to make a movie about replicants basically in space. But
nice.
Blade Runner, top movie, and of course, how many versions of the movie have they come out with? Excuse me while I step off camera.
What are you doing? Oh.
Because, I'm bringing this back in, you gotta get the Blade Runner briefcase that he runs around with.
Oh.
And it comes with your own version of the little Well, I'm not going to open it up, but you can see all the little goodies in there.
Oh, wait. Okay. At first I was wondering what the... Ooh, look at that.
Yeah, you can get the...
I was wondering what this is,
the
but...
little origami
Is
piece.
this to question you, like to see if you're a replicant or not?
Yes, exactly. It's the suitcase.
You see a turtle...
Voigtkampf test suitcase.
You see a turtle on its back, and it's suffering in the sun in a desert. What do? Do you turn that turtle over and you watch it struggle there? I don't see what this has to do with it.
You look down and you see a tortoise, Leon. It's crawling towards
Tortoise? What's that?
you. You know what a turtle is?
Of course.
Same thing. The tortoise lays on its back, its belly baking in the hot sun, beating its legs, trying to turn itself over, but it can't. Not without your help. But you're not helping.
What do you mean I'm not helping?
But that's, I don't understand, and I would be the same way.
Yeah.
Wow, you did! But that was a great movie, and,
Yeah.
and the weird thing about that movie, there were 7 versions of it.
Yeah.
And then the final one was the director's cut.
Yeah.
And there was all this ambiguity about, who's a replicant, who's not a replicant. There's the European one where they show all the blood and guts, especially, let me press your eyebrows in.
Yeah. Yeah. Can you tell we've seen this movie more than once?
I know.
So,
One of those ones you can easily see. The Vangelis score.
Wow. So that was your number one.
Number 1. What's yours?
I cannot believe this did not make your top 8. We start every show off talking about this movie.
What was that? I can't think of the name. The Eddie Murphy sci-fi movie he did.
Oh.
Are you going to put that in there?
No.
What is yours?
It's Star Wars / Empire Strikes Back.
Oh, see, I thought that was too easy.
Too easy.
And the funny thing about those movies,
it changed movie cinema forever. You know what I mean? As good as everything was before it, and as good as everything was since it, nothing was like Star Wars. Nothing was like Empire Strikes Back.
Right.
So, I mean, it changed movie cinema, and it created the summer blockbuster. There was
I
not
thought
really,
Jaws did that, but was it Star Wars? Which
well,
came
Star
first?
Wars. Well, Jaws came first. Jaws came the year before. But I mean, nothing. I mean, Star Wars was in the theater for something like 16 months straight.
I know.
So
Right there.
yeah.
Huge impact.
So yes,
I agree.
And it doesn't even make your top 8 list.
Well, you know what's funny about Star Wars is I see that as a totally different segment on its own. I mean, it became its own segment.
Yeah.
And so I don't see it as sci-fi in the classic sense. For some strange reason, it didn't even occur to me. The entire
Didn't even
time that I was
occur to you.
generating this list did not occur to me.
No,
that Star Wars.
We're sitting here
was
thinking
not.
about Lando Calrissian every week and
But
Ewoks.
again, if you said to somebody that, like a really hardcore sci-fi fan, what's your favorite sci-fi movie? They're not going to say Star Wars. I mean, you are, because you love Star Wars.
All right.
But-
So this is we've just finished our top 8, and this is where we want your feedback. Okay, we want you to go into the comments, and we want you to list your top 8 sci-fi movies of all time.
Yep.
And I want to see if Star Wars makes your top 8.
Of course, he just influenced that.
No, well, he's trying to influence it. Oh, it's in its own category. No, he said.
I'm being a compliment here. I'm saying is that
You're saying nobody that. If you ask them if they're serious sci-fi lovers, they're not going to put Star Wars in their top 8. That's what you just said.
I don't know.
That's ridiculous.
I mean, and I'm being honest here because we don't talk about these things ahead of time.
No.
100% did not occur to me to put the Star Wars movie in my top 8. Didn't occur. Maybe because when I think of, this falls into the whole thing of sci-fi and movies. I was just thinking stuff that had
Star
the
Wars
most
qualify
impact
for both
on
of
me.
those?
Well, no, but I meant more in the sense that what's a great movie, and I'm not saying Star Wars is not a great movie,
Yeah.
but I'm just saying that it just didn't have the emotional impact on me as these other ones.
Of course,
That's where I'm getting that
you know
from.
what? You did not see it in the theater.
Yes, I did not.
I saw it 13 times.
13 times.
The very first time
Dad.
the very first time I saw it, we had to wait in line through 2 full showings of the movie to get in and see it on the
That
third
is
show.
dedication to your
Yes.
movie love.
That maybe has a little bit of impact. And then, believe it or not, just like a couple months later, my dad takes me to the mall in San Jose, California to meet Darth Vader, who was up there in full costume. Now, you're 7 years old, 8 years old, seeing Darth Vader in full costume, and he's like, "Who here wants to support the Empire, and like the whole crowd is like, yeah. I mean, think about like that.
You need a change of pants for that kind of impact.
Where could a villain of a movie go up? Can you imagine Norman Bates going up and saying, "Who here wants to kill ladies in the shower?" You know.
Well, that is the beauty of Darth Vader.
Darth
they
Vader
really figured out a way to not make him as evil as he should have been, because all of he never really was shown killing anybody in the classic sense. But he wasn't really doing it, you know. And the other thing about
he was really doing it.
Well, no, but I mean, in other words, you know, that's not like blood and guts and stuff like that. I mean, it wasn't any of that. The other thing with Darth Vader as a costume, there's no emotion here. It's just the same face, so you can
scare the crap out of me.
Yeah,
at 7,
you get scared the crap out of you, and it has that emotional tie-in to that.
I'm sorry.
face.
You saying
you need?
no?
Do I need some more spice?
I need some spice.
You need some more spice. Hold on. Oh wait, I didn't get any. Hold on. All right. Ooh,
All right.
Man, that's
go back.
good spice.
Go back into the comments. Tell us your top 8 sci-fi movies of all time.
And make sure you say how stupid I am.
Prove to me how stupid Dane is. All right. So Dane, today we're going to be reviewing the movie Dune. Now, we wanted to go to the theater and see this movie like all big epic movies should be seen.
Yeah.
But, you know, life kind of happened and we ended up streaming it on HBO Max.
On the couch.
On the couch. Now, this is the first movie that we actually watched separately from each other.
Yes.
We did not watch this together. So we really don't have a sense of what each one is going to say or think about this movie.
Yeah.
Now, I'm curious, did you ever read the books Dune or see the movie in 1984?
I did. I mean, the books have a very distinctive cover to them. You know, this is Dune Messiah. Much different than what you see here, which is the movie poster. This is, I think, the 3rd book. This was Chapter House Dune, book number 6.
Is that Frank Herbert on the back? I bet it is.
Yes, it is Frank Herbert. And they had as you can see, a very serious look to them. But Dune 1, I read that. I read 1, 2, 3, and 4. 1 was awesome. A lot of action, a lot of, explaining things. And Dune, and then they unfortunately went downhill from there. Well, sorry fans, but they went downhill. It became way too high-level political. Go ahead.
As you know, I've said I've never been a book reader. I used to read books until about 13, and then I just dropped off. I don't read books. Never read Dune, but I did go see the movie in 1984 in the theater. And what was interesting, did you see the movie in the theater when it came out?
I don't think so. What year was that?
It was 1984.
Yeah, no, I don't think I did see it in the movie theater. Okay. Yeah, I saw it later.
You know, Van Halen.
VHS.
All that stuff, yeah. So anyways.
Van Halen, they're in that movie?
No, they came out with an album called 1984.
Oh!
George Orwell, everything happened in 1984.
That's right, it's an amazing year.
But anyways, I did go see this in the theater, and what was interesting was... my parents took me as a kid. You gotta give kudos to my parents.
I was seeing Benji.
They invested money in me seeing movies. So we're sitting in the theater, and before the movie starts, all of the ushers, came in on the sides, and they had a big stack of handouts, and they started handing out to everybody down the row. And in the handouts was, I'm not kidding you, was a dictionary list of all of the terms in Dune.
Really?
All of the houses, and we're sitting there reading. It was both sides. I wish I kept it because I bet you that's...
Oh, that would have been awesome.
I bet you it's valuable now. But they handed it out, so everybody got their sheet of definitions from Dune, like what Arrakis was, House Atreides, the Harkonnens, all these things. Well, that were in there.
That's amazing. Because, it reminds me of the Game of Thrones DVD.
Yeah.
They had that whole thing about all the houses broken down so you understood who the heck was connected to who.
When they're handing out cheat sheets at a movie theater, you know this is gonna be complex, right? And for the
You were probably like, is this the menu?
yeah, you know, no, there was no food at.
I know, in those days.
So
you kids don't know how good you have it.
Yes.
Back in those days, it was popcorn and soda. That was it.
I was getting kneed to the head, you know, and you know the seats were like this.
Right, seats were like super uncomfortable.
So, but you know, it was a very complex movie, and I do remember like all the visuals of Dune as a 14-year-old, but I was lost probably like of what was going on.
Yeah, I mean, and then that was an odd one because so this is interesting that you talk about that with the cheat sheet that they handed you out. But then during the movie, then they have the narrator, and it was what's her name, Virginia Madison, right? Is that her name?
Yeah.
And then she was providing more info about the whole movie. So I mean, that's the amazing thing about this book.
Yeah.
It's so gigantically epic that back in those days. That was David Lynch, right?
Yeah, David Lynch.
He felt like he needed to do that.
Yeah. Well, he felt like he needed to do a lot of
They
weird
sure
things,
didn't do any of that in this one.
So, and just to let you know, so I saw that movie in '84. I own this movie on Blu-ray. I think I've seen this movie one other time, like probably 20 years ago. So, like, I remember visuals. I remember Sting, Peter Gallagher, you know what I mean? Or, you know,
Peter Gallagher.
Or what's the guy's name that, not Peter Gallagher.
Who plays Paul?
Yeah, who plays Paul? What's his name?
He's from Scottish guy.
He's from Blue Velvet.
I know, he's in Blue Velvet also, another David Lynch movie. And he was in the one out in the West. He was the main detective in
oh God. I can't
Man, we are drawing blanks here. What's the
blanks.
famous TV show with Cheryl Fenn?
Twin Peaks.
Twin Peaks. He was also in Twin Peaks.
Another David Lynch.
Man, what was his name?
I can't remember.
Keep talking and I'll tell you in a second.
Okay, you look it up. So, yeah, I mean, I haven't seen this movie, so I was excited to see this new movie and see if I absorbed it, you know, a little bit better. So, you know, while you're looking for who that is, let me just read some stats, okay? And on this movie. So Dune came out this year. It was released August 24th, 2021. Still in the theaters as we speak. Released by Warner Brothers. So far as of this taping, has done $86 million in U.S. box office. Kyle MacLachlan, yes.
There you go.
All right. And world box office was $333 million as of this taping. Written by Frank Herbert, but the screenplay for this movie
he did not write the screenplay. The guy's been dead since, 1986, I think it is?
Yep. John Spates, Eric Roth, and Denis Villeneuve, who also directed this movie. Now, Denis Villeneuve has also directed Prisoners, which we actually talked about, you and I, off camera a few weeks ago.
Yeah, right.
With Jake Gyllenhaal and Hugh Jackman. Where they were tracing, you know, the missing kids.
Yeah.
And how good that was. He also did a movie called Enemy with Jake Gyllenhaal, which I have not seen, but I hear is really, really good.
I have not seen that either.
Then he's done Sicario, which is one of the best movies I've seen in the last 10 years.
You know,
Emily
I
Blunt,
haven't seen
which
it.
you haven't seen.
I've
told
seen
you
it.
You need to see it. Denis Villeneuve does in that movie that builds up so much tension in a scene that I don't know if I've ever been as tense in a movie as I was in Sicario. It was, and if you've seen Sicario, you know what I mean, right? So he's also done Arrival, which you know was with
Amy Adams. It was an interesting take on a sci-fi contact type movie, but I thought it was a little on the sleepy side.
No, it was great. It was fantastic. He also did Blade Runner 2049.
Yeah.
Right?
And that was a very good movie, but unfortunately, I think that had some sleepy moments too. A little bit too much. Young kids could not sit through that movie. I can guarantee you there.
That doesn't mean that film's not good. In fact, when I went through Denis Villeneuve, when I went through his credits, I don't think there was one bad movie that he's ever
I'm not saying he's done bad movies, but he's making movies for a specific age group. Like a little bit more mature type of movies, you know. He's not looking for a movie that's going to keep everyone entertained.
Yeah. Green
Knight.
You mean like Tarantino's not making 10-year-old movies? You know what I mean?
Well,
of course.
that one is especially true.
Right. So, yeah, he's making them for
But
adults.
we had this conversation about The Green Knight. No young kid, and we mean 13-year-old for it, they're not going to sit through that movie because it's just, there's just too much cerebral discussion going on.
Let him go see Shrek then, okay?
Oh, yeah.
So,
hey.
which is a good movie.
More for us.
All right. And what's interesting is his upcoming movie is Dune Part 2. And also Cleopatra.
Oh, wait, there's a part 2?
Cleopatra.
He's doing a Cleopatra.
Yeah, with Gal Gadot. She's gonna play
Oh,
Cleopatra.
well, I know who that is. It took me a second to picture.
Wonder Woman.
Took me a second to picture her in a Cleopatra outfit.
Yeah. So
So who's playing the Burton character in the original Cleopatra? With it was Burton.
Is he Mark Antony? Is he Mark Antony in that movie?
Yeah. Who's Mark Anthony?
I don't know. Maybe they'll get the singer Mark Antony.
Please don't. I don't know if that guy can act against Gal Gadot. I don't know if that will work.
he would be like
They're going for the literal. They're going for the literal. Wait, we don't even have to give him credit. It's Mark Anthony. We don't even have to put a credit. Mark Anthony as himself.
All right. So yeah. Now, starring in this movie, we've got Oscar Isaac.
Yep.
Best known probably in the new Star Wars
as
movie.
the dad.
Yep. We
Daddy.
have Timothy Chalamet. My brother.
Yeah. So, yes, for anyone who noticed, it looks just like his brother.
But he was in Interstellar and Little Women.
Better drink for your brother's sake.
For my brother's sake. We have Rebecca Ferguson. She's been in a couple Mission Impossible.
Yeah, she did a great job.
And she was in The Greatest Showman, which was really good with Hugh Jackman.
I forgot about that.
Then we have Zendaya, who's been recently in the new Spider-Mans as Peter Parker's love interest.
What isn't Zendaya in these days?
Oh.
She's like The Rock. She's got a lot of irons in the fire.
She's the female rock.
She's the female rock. A lot of irons in the fire.
Then we have Jason Momoa, Aquaman. We have Stellan Skarsgård, who was in Thor.
What was his thing? Yeah, but he's done a lot of things. There's something else he's more well known for besides Thor, isn't there?
Probably so.
Thor,
you know. That made me think of a joke that Chris Hemsworth tells. Did you hear about this?
No, I haven't heard this joke.
Chris Hemsworth tells this joke that one night...
I'm already laughing.
One night, Thor goes out to a bar and he meets some girl and he takes her home. And the next morning, he goes, I have to tell you something. I don't know if you know who I am, but I'm Thor. And she goes, you're Thor? I can't even walk.
Oh, that's
you never heard that joke?
No,
okay.
I haven't heard that joke.
Sorry, we just wasted about 20 seconds of your life there for that joke.
You talked about it emotionally crying. Oh my God.
Okay.
Sorry, folks. I know these videos have been very long.
I know.
We were having a great time. I hope you are too.
All right. So also is Josh Brolin, Thanos. You know, Javier Bardem, No Country for Old Men. Dave Bautista, Guardians of the Galaxy. We got all superheroes in here.
I know. It's nonstop.
Dave Bautista was also in a movie with Denis Villeneuve in Blade Runner 2049.
Oh, that's right. He played one of the early replicants in that movie.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
No, I thought he was good in that movie.
In which one?
In 24. Blade
Oh,
Runner
yeah.
2049.
But he was really good in this. And he was the Beast Raban.
Yes.
Or was it Rabin Harkonnen?
Yeah.
You know, who was one of the nephews in the original movie. I don't remember who it was, but that was the weird thing about this movie, which maybe you're going to... There was no Fade.
Yeah.
Fade. Oh, his name was Fade. But in the original movie, it was Sting.
Oh, yeah. I know that they kept that character out of this
right.
movie,
He hasn't made an appearance yet.
He's going to come in too. He's the Emperor's son or
nephew.
Okay.
No. He's Baron Harkonnen's nephew.
Oh, not the Emperor, the Baron Harkonnen.
Yeah,
yes.
right.
Yeah. So, Normally, I would have you read this movie summary, but why don't we just go to watch some clips of this movie, right?
Are you sure? I got it all queued up for a movie summary read.
Nah.
No?
Nah.
That's not it.
Let's just go to these clips.
All right, we're
here.
going to the clips.
Kill them. Kill them all.
I'm going to kill them all, sir.
I'll kill them. I'll kill them all. All right. So when we come back from those clips,
That melange.
I know, man. I don't feel like I'm getting a little hooked on that. You know,
I know.
a little pinch between your cheek and gum.
Mm-hmm. Ugh,
Okay,
that's good. Good stuff.
Dane, why don't you read the spoiler alert?
So, as we've always stated in our movies, we don't want to spoil anything for anybody. So, skip ahead to this time above my Fremen's head here, and we will give our grade back at that time. So, skip ahead. Leave now. Last chance. Last warning.
Very spoiler heavy. We're going to go into it. So if you haven't seen it and you want to see it, skip. If you have seen it, stay right here. Or if you don't think you're going to see this movie, which I'm telling you right now, you want to see this movie.
I don't know.
I don't know. Okay.
There might be some sci-fi people that non-sci-fi people that might not be interested.
Actually, you know what? I told my parents what we were reviewing this week.
Yeah.
And they watched it on HBO Max, and my mom bailed after 30 minutes.
It's interesting how that happened because I had a similar situation.
What?
Then my wife bailed on me after 30 minutes.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Wow. I guess they're just not the sci-fi folks. But so Dane, our movie opens up. There's rolling sands in a desert, and a narrator comes on. I think it's Zendaya who's narrating this.
Yes, it is Zendaya.
Okay. She explains that on this planet, Arrakis.
Playing what, Chani?
Chani. Yeah.
Isn't that
Chani.
girl's name?
Yeah. She explains that on this planet, Arrakis, it has an abundance of resources, namely spice.
Spice.
And that outsiders have come here for years to harvest, steal the resources of their planet. These outsiders were called the Harkonnens. They're a cruel race of people that become so rich by taking the spice that they are now even richer than the Emperor himself. But one day, by imperial order, the Harkonnens abandon Arrakis by imperial order, and they just leave the planet. So that's how it kind
They
of
have no
opens.
choice. The Emperor has told them, get the heck out.
And like, so I didn't read the books, and I kind of don't remember the movie. So as I'm watching this, I'm like, now why would the Emperor say leave? Because they talk about how spice fuels all the ships in the galaxy.
It doesn't fuel the ships. It fuels the minds that power the time and space continuum. So what happens is the spice.
I thought it said it fuels the ships.
No, well, it does indirectly.
Okay.
The spice fuels the people that can bend time and space, and that's what allows the ships to pass through.
Oh.
Through, like, basically, what in Star Wars terms, what's it called?
Oh, no, and jump to light speed.
Light speed. So it allows the ships to
What's the term called? Jump to light speed. Okay.
I was going to say warp speed.
That's in Star Trek.
Yeah, that's right. But it'd be, and that's what it is. The spice powers your telekinetic, or I don't know what they call it, telepathic, whatever but you're allowed to bend time and space when you're heavily induced on the spice. And that is a big thing in this movie that they did not really go over.
They didn't go over that.
1984, they really talked about that heavily in that movie.
They didn't go into that. They did talk about that there's also a side effect of being exposed to spice, and that is kind of the narcotic value of spice, and that you can become addicted, and that is why the locals on that on the planet Arrakis, when they are around spice all the time, it turns their eyes blue.
It turns their eyes blue.
Spice. Give me your spice.
I want
spice.
I love the spice.
So So after this opening, Act 1, the movie basically introduces us to House Atreides. Now, this is Oscar Isaacs. He plays Duke Leto Atreides.
Yeah.
He is their leader. Rebecca Ferguson is his
Head of the
wife.
house.
Lady Jessica Atreides. And my brother, Timothy Chalamet,
Right. It's amazing how that guy
plays Paul Atreides. Now, the Atreides family is surrounded by a large contingent of people that serve the house. So you have Josh Brolin, who plays Gurney Halleck.
Gurney,
Who is the commander of their army, if you will.
if I remember correctly, it's Patrick Stewart in the original movie.
Oh.
So a little tie-in there with Star Trek.
Jason Momoa.
Everything's related to Star
Jason Momoa plays Duncan, Idaho.
Trek.
You
Idaho.
think about the movie starts off saying that this is in the year like 10,000 something. So it's about 8,000 years from now, but yet they still have names like Duncan, Idaho.
I know. I think there was an author like, I love that name and I'm going to keep it in there because everyone else had these, Paul, but Duncan, Idaho, and...
I just spilled my spice.
Oh, you spilled your spice, and we're gonna go into a commercial break.
Quick commercial break.
All right, so we're back. I'm going to pour you a little bit more spice here, JR, but are you sure I can trust you with this? You might not be able to handle your melange.
We had technical difficulties there, folks. Sorry
I'm going to give myself some more, too.
Yes, let me release my mind here. All right. So where were we? We were talking about... So the House Atreides is surrounded by a lot of people that serve him. We were talking about Duncan, Idaho.
Duncan, Idaho, the one with the odd name that makes no sense with everyone else.
So this is Jason Momoa. He's their most talented warrior. He's also the lead to their scout team, who's going to go check out Arrakis. Now, I shouldn't actually say that first, because what happens is they're preparing for an emissary from the Emperor who's landing on their planet and's got a message for them.
Yes.
That message is, we want you, House Atreides, to go to Arrakis and take over spice mining from the Harkonnens.
Right. We're replacing Harkonnens. We're putting you in there.
Now, I'm trying to figure out why. Like, why is this happening? Of course, I think this comes to bear later on in the movie.
They do talk about it a little bit, and it's the whole premise is that the Emperor is an extremely jealous man, like all of us, and is afraid that Leto is going to be too powerful. So he decides as the best way to take down the Harkonnens, the other powerful family in the galaxy, and the Atreides, is to do a little switcheroo, kick out the Harkonnens, put Atreides in there, have them take it over. So now they're in charge of the most valuable resource in the universe. And then secretly...
Okay, so that's going to bring us to Act 2.
Right, that's exactly why they did it. So the Emperor, which made a huge impression on the first movie, makes no impression on this movie. He's in the background.
So
behind the curtain.
Before we get to Act 2, which is them going to Arrakis, we learn more about this family, okay? We find out that the mother is part of an order called the Bene Gesserit, right? It's like a semi-religious order of all women, and they wield great political cachet in the galaxy. The Emperor respects the Bene Gesserit, the Harkonnens, the House of Atreides. Everybody has high respect for this Bene Gesserit. And
Bene Gesserit.
I was going to ask.
It's very close to like the Benedictine or it's like a
Yes. Now they have
order of women.
They have more than just political cachet. They have supernatural almost like abilities of seeing into the future, seeing into the past, and also controlling people's actions by finding the right pitch.
The
in their
voice. Using the voice.
And they call it the voice. Right?
JR, drink more. JR, drink more beer. Drink more.
All right.
Oh, look, it worked.
Yeah. All right. So I'm going to remember that.
They have a lot of other things too. They can control, the women can control, because it's all women.
Right.
They can control their...
I call them the Spice Girls.
They can also control what type of sex they have for a baby. So that's a big thing. And so they've been, then that's why they're, and you said respected. I think the word really is more feared.
Yeah.
In that they have inserted themselves into all these imperial houses over thousands of years, and they are basically angling all the houses genetically to get together to produce a final offspring that is the most powerful being in the universe.
And that's where Timothy Chalamet comes in. Paul. So his mom has actually, I don't know if she got permission to do this or not, but she has been teaching her son the ways of the Bene Gesserit since birth.
There's always a rebel in every movie. No, in this particular case, being the rebel,
she didn't get permission then.
She did not get permission,
Okay.
and she was not supposed to have a boy.
Oh!
That's a big thing. You heard that a little bit mentioned in the movie, in that she gave Leto a boy.
Okay.
You heard her mention that? She was actually ordered by the Bene Gesserit to have a girl.
Oh,
And
missed
so
that.
she had the boy instead, and then she's also breaking the rules by training him in the way.
In the way.
Yes.
So you see him having dinner with his mom, and he asks for like some more drink, and she's like, "Oh, why don't you practice your voice?"
I know.
Right?
Can I have some more juice, Mom?
Yeah, I just want some more juice.
Practice
Mom.
your voice.
Practice your voice.
Every kid wants to wake, and he's like perfect. What age is he? They never state him.
He's probably about like 17, 18.
Is that what you're saying? And he's
Yeah.
like, I just got up, Mom.
I know.
Mom.
Yeah.
And then she's like, practice the voice. And then the dumb thing about the whole situation, I thought this scene was ridiculous, is she's like, order me to give you water.
Yeah.
Really? That's what you want him to use the voice on? I thought that was very
So
ridiculous.
we see, we're getting introduced to all of the family members. We're getting to see who all the role players are that
Right.
supports the family. We're learning more about Paul's upbringing and his powers. And then the Bene Gesserit shows up.
Yes,
okay.
the Holy Mother, the head of the order.
The Holy Mother. They look like nuns. They come in and they want to test the abilities of Paul. So the mother has like basically no she can't
Say in the matter.
right? So she has to let her son goes in, and she's fearful of what's going to happen
Yeah,
in that room.
she knows what's coming.
So Paul goes into the room with the Holy Mother, and she's like, put your hand
Put
in
your
this box."
hand in the box. JR, put your hand in the box.
Yeah.
Oh,
You
you
know,
survived.
so-
You passed.
I think Justin Timberlake has a song about the hand in the box too. So.
Different body part in the box.
Oh, okay. So it's very painful. She says, she actually puts up like a poison dart next to his neck.
Yes, she goes up to his neck with a dart, and she's like, "Don't take your hand out of the box, no matter how painful it is.
Yeah.
If you take it out, I'm going to kill you right here."
Yeah. And so he's screaming, "Ah!" It's painful, but he doesn't take his hand out of the box. But by doing this, eliciting this emotion from him, she's kind of able to read some of his thoughts, right? And kind of see like where he's going, what he's thinking.
Well, the thing is ambiguous about that particular scene. Was that his thoughts, or was that she seeing his thoughts? It was kind of like unknown, but she
So-
does sense something.
Whatever happens in that room, she's okay. She seems to be okay.
She realizes that Paul can control his emotions.
Okay. So she's okay.
He's not a beast.
Yes.
Not an
So
animal.
she allows him to continue on training in the ways and, being alive, basically. I guess.
Yeah, I mean, and that was the cutting edge there. Is like, you can keep your hand in the box while I'm emitting some kind of psychotropic power on you to make your hand. I mean, Paul pulls his hand out and he's like, what? My hand's okay. I thought it was, like it was crushed.
I got my hand in the box. So then this is now going to lead us to Act 2. So Act 2 is they're now going to be deployed to the planet of Arrakis. And while they are there, taken to the planet of Arrakis, they're setting up shop in the city of Arrakeen, which is the largest city on Arrakis. All right?
Main palace city. Yeah.
They're in the process of setting up their defenses, and they're trying to learn more about the spice trade because they are not familiar with this. So one of the locals, which they call the Fremen, takes them out into the desert to show them how they harvest spice with these harvesters during the day.
Right.
But before they do that, they must suit up in these special suits that the locals wear, which takes all of the moisture from your sweat and your urine, and it recycles it into water that you can drink.
Right. So in one day, you only lose 1 thimble of water.
Now, you can imagine how good that water tastes.
Yeah, I know.
Right.
I mean, it's like sweat.
Pee.
There's got to be some poop in there, too.
If it's liquid,
who knows?
I just drink what they pour me. So they get in their suits.
Literally.
They get in their suits. They go out to check out, these harvesters. And you know what? As I'm watching this movie and they're out in the desert, I couldn't imagine how many things reminded me of Star Wars in this show. Because, But
ironically, it's the other way around.
What?
Because Dune came out first before
No, I know.
The book, yeah.
So Dune was written in the 60s.
1963.
63 or 64.
Yeah, somewhere in there.
And we have all known that George Lucas has basically ripped all kinds of ideas off, from Flash Gordon to 1940, World War II dogfight. Kind of
look that up because it's amazing. It's the exact same dialogue.
Yeah, the whole X-wing and the trench it's a whole scene from 1940s where they're trying to blow up a dam where they have to get the bomb.
During World War II, it's the exact same dialogue.
It's amazing. So, but you know what? You know that he lifted stuff off of Dune because this Ben Gesserit reminds me of Jedis, right? Because the Jedis kind of go out into the world. They have political cachet, right?
They're kind of controlling things a little bit. Yeah.
They've got powers with the Force, just like the Ben Gesserit has powers, right? So we're on a desert planet, which George Lucas seems to really like. There's even reference to the spice mines of Kessel in Star Wars. You'll work the spice mines of Kessel. So there's spice mines in Star Wars. Yeah, right. Right? Did you realize that?
Yeah, well, you said that. Yeah, no, I mean...
When you go out and see these spice harvesters, they look like Jawa, they look like the Jawa.
Oh, they do look like that. You're right. The Jawa transport.
The transports. Yeah. There was so many things, that were reminding me of this. So... But there is some cool technology in Dune. So, we see these ships that, instead of having jet propulsion, they have B-wings.
They're thopters.
Yeah.
They call them thopters. Well, no, it was more dragonfly.
Dragonfly.
Right, okay. Dragonfly wings. Yeah. And it's I think there's 3 small wings that can vibrate really fast and then it will lift you up just like a dragonfly will.
So that was cool.
Yeah.
Of course, you have these suits. Also, when they're fighting, they have these personal shields that help shield them.
I forget what they were called.
What I thought was interesting is most of the fighting is done with blades. There's very little guns in this.
Except at the end. But you're right. I mean,
this is not an Arnold Schwarzenegger movie.
Well, because you remember the point of the shields.
The shields.
Did you pick up on this or not?
No,
okay, so the shields are anything that comes in fast, which would be a energy weapon like a gun, something like that, can't penetrate the shields. because it's too fast.
Something slow, like a
So
blade.
that's why when you saw all these fighting and all of a sudden it would go red,
Yeah.
that was because, oh, I'm going in slow.
Yeah.
And that was the only way you could kill anybody. It was that it had to be super slow. So they would go bam, 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 and you saw Duncan Idaho deliberately knocking people down.
Yeah.
So he was actually smart in that he was playing with the way the shields worked.
Yep.
And he realized that, well, yeah, okay, me coming in full force and like kneeing you in the face, I'm not going to have an effect, but I'm going to knock you down and then I can come in really slow with a blade.
Wow.
And so that's why...
You know what's kind of funny is now I'm kind of remembering the 1984 movie. I think they make a much bigger deal about that than in this movie, don't they?
It's very subtle in this one. Only when he's fighting Gurney that he talks about, remember, you got to come in slow.
Yeah.
And that's it. They never talk about it again. But then you would see all the fighting going on, and especially with Jason Momoa, when he was doing that, he would be like, bam, 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 and all of a sudden it was like, red, woof, and then he would like rip their neck, neck open.
So, one thing I did find helpful is part of the technology is Paul, as he's traveling to Arrakis, and when he gets to Arrakis, he has like some sort of training holograms that are teaching him about the planet of Arrakis and the locals,
right. the locals.
the Fremen, and he's getting to see all of this, with these holograms. So So just as House Atreides is learning this planet, one more thing, one morning, you have this hunter seeker coming in looking for Paul.
Right.
And I remember this distinctly from the 1984 movie.
Yep.
It's basically like a needle that just floats. And it's got intelligence. It's looking for people.
It's almost like a giant mosquito.
Yeah, and it's looking for people.
Mechanical mosquito, right?
And then so when it locks in on Paul and it shoots, Paul actually is able to move and catch it and destroy it.
Right.
So then that morning, everybody is like freaked out that there was an assassination attempt. But, Gurney's like, oh, this guy is catching hunter seekers with his bare hands.
Like, buddy!
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah. So,
he's a man.
Really cool. But what
Patrick Stewart played Gurney in the first movie.
So what you have here is you cut to a night scene. And, House Atreides is all asleep. Apparently there's no station guards because one doctor was able to go turn the force fields off for the whole planet.
Dr. Yue.
And
all the force fields. He's knocked off everybody.
Well, you know what? We should probably talk about these specially trained forces that come in. So they have a cut scene while they are on Arrakis learning the spice trade.
They're on the Imperium planet.
They're on a different planet. And the Emperor has his own special forces soldiers, and they are called
Sarikar.
The Sarikar, something like that.
Sarikar?
Yes.
It's an odd name. There's a lot of weird names, and then all of a sudden, Duncan Idaho?
Duncan Idaho, yeah. So, so they are implored by the Emperor to go take out House Atreides.
It's basically like the Red Guards of the Emperor in Star Wars. What were they called? The Imperial Guards?
Yeah, something like aren't they called Crimson something?
I don't
the Crimson
remember.
Guards?
Crimson Guards or whatever, but it's like those guards, but much more in like an Italian, multiple battalions of those type of guards.
I thought you said Italians at first. I was like, oh, wow.
No.
Okay. It's like an Italian, you get made and then you're part of the group. So, so they come at night. They start attacking,
Right. Well, they're them and the Harkonnens.
Them and the Harkonnens.
The Harkonnens paid for 3 battalions.
Yes.
They were very distinct about that. Yeah. That's a thing from the book, but yes.
So they basically take out most of House Atreides. They capture the Duke. The mother and the son, Paul escape, right? And so then,
well, they don't escape. You're skipping a part there.
Well, so they were. I am.
They're taken out to the desert to be dropped off and then killed in the desert
because the Harkonnens made a deal with the Bene Gesserit,
right?
Not
the
to
mother,
kill the mother and
right.
the son.
And so they made one of those. And I would have thought by now the Baron would be known for these loose agreements. So he's like, well, I will not kill them.
Right.
And then she's like, "Oh, okay. Well, you said that." So then, and then
I've
of
got
course,
special powers.
then-
I can see in the future, and I can see
I can see, read your mind. And
but you're okay. I agree with you. I accept your.
I accept what you're saying. And then, of course, as soon as she leaves, he's like, "Well, I won't kill them. I will just have the desert kill them." And it was like, "Come on." I mean, you know.
But the whole time this movie is moving, it is completely world building. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
To see that planet where the special forces were and the sounds that they
I
had
know.
there. I mean, it was like...
And then going putting blood on your head and all those people.
Yeah.
I mean, that was very powerful, that scene
very
alone.
powerful,
And all
very
those guys are like, I'm assuming those are the victims of the previous war where
my
they're like
God.
draining their blood out and then marking all the
crazy.
new soldiers with that.
So you're right. They take out Paul and his mother to just
in
drop
one of
them
those
off in the desert.
copters. And they're like, and they had one deaf guy in there.
Yeah. But, Paul uses the voice. He finally finds the right pitch. And he and his mom help.
Right.
They escape it,
Take
but
off.
they are now stuck in the desert in a tent. And this kind of opens up Act 3. So House Atreides falls, and now our heroes are left wandering the desert. All right.
That's a good point. Our heroes, known as plural there.
Yeah.
And Leto has been captured by Yue, and that's how you notice how the little dart made it through it was a special dart that was going very, very slowly once it got in, and then he's knocked out, and then Yue gives him replaces a back molar
with a poison pill.
Which you think about it. Have you ever gone to the dentist? It's very hard to replace a back molar. I mean, he basically had to like pull that damn thing out and then put another one in.
We're only in 2021, Dane. They're in 10,000.
Oh, that's right. Maybe they have an easy way to do this.
Yeah, they got the easy button.
Right. So then he's off, and the other two have been taken into the desert.
Yeah. So now the Harkonnens have come in. They've taken over Arrakis. They do know that Paul and his mother have escaped, so they've got troops out looking for them. And
right, the Beast, Robin Harrigan.
Yeah,
David Bautista.
They are playing cat and mouse basically out in the desert, But Paul and Lady Jessica meet up with some Fremen led by Javier Bardem. His name is Stilgar, and by Zendaya, who's part of the group, Chani. And they're with the Freeman group, right?
Yeah.
So when they meet, Javier Bardem had met
earlier when he first came to the planet. He was the leader that was introduced because Jason Momoa as Duncan Idaho.
Yeah.
When he was sent down earlier to check out the local, populace, he hooked up with these particular group of Freemen.
So Javier Bardem, who's the leader, they have a little bit of back and forth, but he's willing to accept them. But one of the Freemen, he can't accept these outsiders.
Jameis.
So he challenges Paul to a duel.
Right. Well, you're skipping the part about...
I'm skipping lots of parts because...
when
they talk about everything.
When they first run into the Freeman, Lady Jessica, right? Yeah. Isn't that her name? She then is challenged by Stilgar, and obviously she beats Stilgar. Mm. And then Jameis is like, what?
Yeah.
You got beaten, Stilgar. I'm going to invoke I forget what it was called, but something that says, well, you're a wimp.
The Prime Directive?
Close. It's not the Prime Directive. Well, that's Patrick
Order
Stewart.
30, Order 99 or whatever.
No, but basically said, I'm going to invoke this is Jameis saying this, because you obviously got beaten by this woman, so I'm going to say you're not strong enough as a leader. So I'm now going to challenge you, and then what ends up happening?
Well, he and Paul go into a duel.
Paul says, I'm the champion of this woman, and then Paul and him jump in there.
And, Paul has been training his whole life, but I don't think he's had much action before, but he had actually seen this man in some of his visions.
Right.
And here was the interesting thing.
All those hallucinations.
In his visions, he saw this man as a friend. It
was a mix. Friend sometime, and then sometime not a friend.
Yeah. So I kind of went back and did a little bit of reading about this power. And so sometimes when you see these visions, you're able to see alternate paths of your future.
Alternate realities.
Basically, a future multiverse, if you will. So you could
Good
see
thing Spider-Man didn't show up in there.
Yeah. So suddenly, what was Paul's actor's name in
Kyle MacLachlan?
So Kyle MacLachlan shows up, and you've got two Paul. No, I'm sorry. That's a multiverse.
That would be a whole nother multiverse.
Okay.
That's a whole nother story.
Okay. So so that was the interesting part for me because he ends up killing him in the duel. Paul kills the guy.
And Paul, and that was a big thing because Jameis is like, "Come on!" After Paul like bests him and says, "You."
Oh, he bests him like several times.
And he's like, "Oh, come on, what?" You know, like he was basically being put in his place, and from a Freeman honor standpoint, that was a no.
Yeah.
And then finally, the mom says, "Well, he's never killed anybody before. And that was a big step in character development. For Paul.
So after that, all of the Freemen pretty much accept Paul. They all come
after, and then he finally says, "I'm going to have to kill him."
Yeah.
Right, and so he kills Jameis.
Right,
and then somehow Zendaya has given him the Chris knife, and I was like, "Am I hearing, the hero's journey here with Obi-Wan Kenobi giving the lightsaber to?" Well,
so the Chris knife is made from a tooth of, and we haven't even talked about the sandworms.
I know, man.
Right?
What?
You know, another thing that reminded me of the sandworms was the Sarlacc in Star Wars, right?
It's amazing how we go back to our opening segment.
I just wanted to know if, Paul was swallowed by one of these worms, if Boba Fett was down there.
I know. Is Boba down in them? Maybe this is a cross-universal thing.
It is, except this is in the future, 10,000, and Star Wars was in a galaxy a long time ago.
Yes, exactly.
So, they're probably about 20,000 years apart. So, but very, very, very interesting. He defeats him. He now is accepted by the Freeman, and then he goes on some kind of ambushes with the Freeman where they're taking out Harkonnen, out in the desert.
Well, that was a hallucination thing.
Was it a hallucination?
Yes, that was a hallucination. That was a future. That was a future view. You better ignore that.
I just saw a cat go by twice. Was it a hallucination?
It was.
Oh, okay. All right.
Because you remember, you saw Paul, and they were all in gold armor almost, and they came out. That was the point of it. That was in the future. But to your point, you had no idea what the heck was going on.
Right. But here's the thing. After that happens, he talks about, he's going to take out the Harkonnens. He's going to take out the Emperor. Yep. He's going to have revenge for the House of Atreides falling. And then it's like the end of the movie.
Right. I know.
And I'm like...
Let me just walk off into the sunset.
And I was like, this was a 2.5 hour movie, but I was left wanting more. I was like, whoa.
Oh, yeah. I mean, it was totally an unfinished storyline. Yeah. I mean, that was the problem with the movie.
And you know what? I kind of knew going ahead that I heard that HBO Max had already approved Denis Villeneuve to film Dune Part 2.
Uh-huh.
So I see how he left it. If there was never going to be a Dune 2, you could have a wrap up on the story and just say, all right, he kind of overcame it and now he's living with them. But it would have been an unhappy ending because there's so much more to tell.
He gets to hang out with the women, the men in the desert.
Yes.
No, that was halfway through, really. So, I mean, and I'm assuming we're going to get into this later, but that was the problem with the movie is that the way it ended is they were trying to figure out how to do an arc, and it was Paul's arc.
Well, I have to say something here.
Go ahead.
And maybe this is giving away something.
Drink.
We are talking about minor potatoes for me because I didn't read the book. And
so this is very interesting, and this is the great thing about doing these reviews is I read the book and I have a lot more knowledge than he does, and you did not. So you have to spill the beans.
I came in, and I'm from the opening scene through Act 1, through Act 2, through Act 3. I was in awe of this movie.
Mm-hmm.
This movie was world building. I thought it was well written. I was falling in love with this movie. And I'm kind of giving up what we're going to be getting.
But at the same time,
I was disappointed with how it ended because I could have sat there for another 2.5 hours.
Right.
But you can't watch a 5-hour movie unless.
Right. Well, that's why there's another movie, a part two by Denis Villeneuve.
But here's what I'm hoping when this movie is released on Blu-ray. I hope he does a Peter Jackson and says, "Oh, I made a 3-hour Lord of the Rings movie, but I'm going to put an hour back in and release it on Blu-ray and have a 4-hour movie. I'm going to do a Snyder cut of the Justice League, and I'm going to take a 2.5-hour movie. I'm going to make it 4 hours and put all this stuff back into it." I could totally dig Denis Villeneuve putting another hour and a half back into this movie because I liked it so much.
Right. Yeah, I mean that.
But I'm taking the way that you keep talking that you're not going to like it. So let me just ask you, Dane.
Well, but this is an interesting discussion.
This is an interesting. Okay, so we've kind of gone through the 3 acts, how it ends. If you could do something different to make this movie, now we're talking part 1, better, how would you have done that?
Well, so if you've read, obviously, the books, which most people have not. So we have to look at this purely from a movie standpoint. There's got to be a main character. There's got to be an objective. There's got to be a midpoint. There's got to be an end. There's got to be a lost point, blah, blah, blah. There's got to be an arc, as you can see. And so one of the problems with this movie, which I'm sure they struggled with, was who was the main character in the beginning of the movie?
It was Duke Leto.
You would think. But then all of a sudden, the mom becomes the main character. Lady Jessica becomes the main character. Secretly, because she was the one who was manipulating
Paul. Secret probation?
Yeah, double secret probation.
Because I thought it became Paul, the main character.
Well, then you'd think Paul. But really, what happened ended up here, that the 3 of them were the main. There was basically what they call a 3 main. All were going on through the movie, and all of them had objectives. But what was bothering me about this was that Paul. Do you remember? So here, you brought it up. What was the first scene in the movie?
The rolling dunes.
And what happened in the first scene?
You see the spice, and then you see the Harkonnens there, right? Taking the spice. They're kind of being cruel to the local people. And then they're ordered to leave. What
no, that was not the beginning of the movie. Okay. And I actually watched the movie twice, which I do not normally do. But this movie had so many I
watched it once.
I watched it twice. So what threw me off on this one, I was like, I could not remember how this movie started. So I'm like, all right, I'm going to go back and watch the beginning again. And then I just ended up watching the rest of it. What was the first opening scene of Star Wars? The original, number 4 right now.
You see the princess's ship being chased by the Star Destroyer, over a planet.
Right. Yeah. And then Darth Vader breaks into the ship. They get pulled up, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
It's very distinctive openings.
Yeah.
This movie did not have a distinctive opening.
Yeah.
And in fact, Paul Atreides, who's the main character in the movie, what was the first thing you saw him doing in this movie?
He was doing Was he doing something with bull riding? Or not the bull. No. What was he doing?
He was sleeping.
He was sleeping.
It was the first opening thing of a major, the main character.
Yeah,
he was sleeping.
I can't even remember.
Sleeping. I know. This is my exact point. Is that the movie had all this, it just started so slow. But actually what the opening scene was Zendaya gets introduced with them attacking the Harkonnens.
Yeah.
And then there was this hallucinogenic blah, blah, blah. But, scene where she talks, and this is where she becomes the narrator at the very beginning. But unlike the first movie where they had Virginia Madison, she's not the narrator through the entire movie. She's only at this little section at the beginning and little section at the end. So they bookended Zendaya in the movie.
Okay.
Right? Never mind the fact that he keeps having hallucinations about her, or visions of her, which it was okay, we got enough of this with Zendaya. But that was the problem I had with this movie, is that there wasn't a character driving the movie forward. If you remember what happened in the first one, in the 1984 movie with Kyle MacLachlan, where he's doing the fighting.
Yeah.
That's where they should have started.
So one thing I do distinctly remember from the 1984 movie, and remember, I said I don't think I've seen this movie in 20 years, was them riding the worms. Right?
Well, you saw you didn't even bring that up at the tail end of this movie.
The tail end, he sees somebody.
Right.
And
that's the struggle with this book.
I don't remember, but I was waiting for them to go riding the worms.
But that's a secret Fremen thing.
Yeah.
They're not going to show that to anybody except Fremen. So that was the big point of the very end of that little stretch where they're walking through the desert after he's just killed Jameis. The stretch of, I can see somebody riding the Fremen.
Hey, can I ask you a question? I had a question in this, and maybe you can answer it, maybe you can't. Do you remember back in Act 2 when Paul went out with his dad to go see how the spice is mined?
Yeah.
And they were going to take the spice crawler away with a lift because one of the worms was there and the lift wasn't working.
Malfunctioned. Conveniently.
So they're trying to evacuate the local
21 people
off of this crawler, and Paul goes out onto the desert and he gets onto his knees because there's a voice calling to him. And there's like this voice coming, and he's just almost like in a trance-like state, looking at the crawler, trying to communicate with his voice. And then finally, Josh Brolin comes out, rescues him, right?
Right.
But what was he doing there?
Okay.
Because I thought he was actually communicating with the worm.
No. So what was that? Yeah, no. I mean, but I can see where. So this is the exact point of, if you read the books, you really got in the movie. If you did not read the books, you're like lost on what was going on, right? I'm assuming. I'm sorry. I'm subtextual here. Well, so did you notice that when he was out there, all this like sparkly stuff was coming against the camera?
Sand?
No, that was spice.
So I mean, yeah, spice.
Spice.
Yeah.
Spice is a psychotropic chemical.
Oh, so
basically it would be like if blue meth has been like hitting your senses or whatever, and he's picking up on it. Okay. And so what's going on is that he's now all of a sudden having these visions because the spice is interacting with his latent powers, and he's now all of a sudden seeing visions of the future, but he's getting overpowered by them. So that's why he's on his knees. So he's like, I'm helping these guys out, but this is the first time I'm getting like inundated with all this blue meth. Yeah. So he's all of a sudden, and that's what's happening. He's having an hallucination.
Okay. Just a quick question.
Yeah.
So Dane, I think we've kind of gone through the whole movie. I think it's time for us to bring back our viewers who are avoiding the spoilers, and let's get into our ratings, okay? All right. Everybody should be coming back, right?
Exactly. We're coming back to the Cult Lord's grade, where we reveal what we thought about the movie.
We're done with the spoilers, so everybody that came with us through the spoilers are here, but now we're talking about our grades. But before I have us share our grades, would be interesting to see what the Rotten Tomato score is.
Right? The Rotten Tomatoes. Okay. Or is it tomato?
I say tomato, you say tomato. All right, so the critics gave this an 82%.
82?
Fresh score.
All
right. So the audience gave this a 90%.
Ooh.
Fresh, double fresh.
Wow.
Yeah. So,
fresh, double fresh.
So I think it's time for us to reveal our scores to our viewers. Okay.
I don't know. I'm a little scared here to reveal what we thought. This movie had a lot both back and forth. So what are we going to do?
All right. On the count of 3. 1, 2, 3.
Huh. Oh! Okay, this is a switch.
This is interesting.
This is a switch. We reversed.
I thought this was a great movie.
I looked at it more from things that were missing. I went more with the critics. You went more with the audience this time.
Yeah, but the critics still loved it. 83%.
Well, I'm at 7.9. I'm close. I'm in the vicinity.
Yeah, well, book readers always are very critical of these movies. So.
Well, again, I thought it did cover a lot of the major points of the books. But I think what really left me hanging was that I didn't like the way the ending was. And plus, from a movie, just purely movie's technical standpoint, who was the main? 3 mains, nobody had an objective, and you're like left with, how did the movie start? Where did it end? I had to go back and watch the movie just to remember how it started.
Dane's been on the spice a little too.
Oh, wait, you're right. I'm sorry.
That was a great movie. And,
you really thought it was great.
I really thought it was great. I would have to say that this is going to probably be in my top 8 movies of the year.
What?
So at the end of the year, we're gonna do a top 8 movies we've seen in 2021, and I'm just saying this might be there. So
okay, well, I'm going to be honest here. I'm surprised because you had a lot of questions about what happened. So obviously the movie had a much bigger emotional impact.
Guess what
happened.
Inception's one of my favorite movies. I have lots of questions. Star Wars is one of my favorite movies. We sit here and argue mundane things every week. You can pick apart almost any movie that you want to pick apart, but at the end of the day, did you sit there and enjoy this movie? I love the world building. I love the characters. I love Zendaya. I love my brother. I mean, I'm a little partial. My brother's in this movie. So.
I know. I don't know how. I'm amazed.
He's not my brother, folks. We're just joking around. Okay.
It's strange.
So some people are going to probably think, God, is that really his brother? If this was my brother, I would not have seen it on HBO Max. I'm sure I would have gone to the Chinese Grauman Theater out in California. I would have gone to that opening, right? So I tell you what, this kind of wraps up another episode. This ends our review of Dune. It's time to go back to the space mines of Kessel. Right?
Oh, the space mines of Kessel. Hold on a second. You better put a little bit more between the teeth and gums before we leave here. Okay.
Okay.
I guess I'm getting.
I think that was the wrong franchise anyway.
Yeah.
So, Dane, what is our final message to our reviewers about this lovely book?
So, remember, everybody, we love your comments. We want to hear you on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. And anyone who has commented by what date?
I should have looked this up.
I would have killed you if you don't have the date. Oh, you're dead.
I'm going to say the 26th.
The 26th of November.
Yes.
Whoever does mucho comente by the 26th of November
Black Friday.
Oh, yeah, there we go. Is going to win this book. We're going to have a raffle.
Yep.
A spin, and you will be the happy recipient of the actual novel that you can read at your own leisure.
Then you can be stuck up like Dane is about the movie because you read the book, right? So, thanks again, cult followers. All I have to say is, Hail Hydra.
What?
We are the cult lords.
I picked a bad day to quit spice.
Chair, you ready to start?
Oh.